Welcome to the Ebbs of History, the show where we dribble through the strangest, wildest, and sometimes downright creepiest stories the past has to offer. From haunted hat tricks to extra-time executions, you'll laugh, you'll gasp, you'll even groan at my impeccable kid jokes. Red card for that one, ref. I'll see myself out. But most importantly, you'll learn how history is way cooler than your textbook ever told you.
We're your history-loving hosts, Zoe,
Jason,
And I'm Gavin, and today we're kicking off something special. Because in honor of the World Cup, which starts today, we've lined up a 3-part series of soccer-themed episodes to air throughout the Cup. Consider this our group stage of history, and trust me, we brought our A-game. Speaking of which, today the three of us are diving into the story so wild it makes losing on penalties look reasonable. A tale of two nations, one referee, and zero chill. So lace up your boots, grab your vuvuzela, and try not to riot. Subbing in, subbing out, this is the Ebbs of History. Hey there, history lovers. Welcome back to another episode of the Ebbs of History. We're so glad you're here with us today. Zoe, Dad, how was everyone's week?
well, it's been a day since we last recorded, so it's been a good day. I took a nap today.
Awesome.
It was awesome.
Zoe,
kind of just a relaxing day.
you've been playing Pokemon lately.
I
Sword and
have.
Shield.
I have. I'm ahead of you now.
I know. Oh my gosh. It's taken like 2 days.
Yeah.
I just set up a big ol' shelf in my room. So, oh my god, it's so much better.
It is nice. I like it, yes.
My room looks so organized now. At least like that little area. Oh,
Mhm.
it's so nice.
From what it was to what it is now, major improvement.
All right, heads up before we start. Today's episode includes the death of a teenager by suicide in 1969. We talk about it carefully, and we don't dwell on it, but if that's a hard topic for you right now, you might want to skip this one. If you ever need to talk to someone in the U.S., you can call or text 988. Okay, on with the show. Today's story is one of the most famously misunderstood headlines in 20th century history. Soccer games started a war. Did it? Kind of? Sorta? Actually, no. We're going to interrogate the legend and find the real story underneath, which is way more interesting. Alright, guys. The story everyone tells goes like this. In 1969, two countries in Central America, El Salvador and Honduras, played 3 soccer games against each other. Hated each other so much by the end that El Salvador invaded Honduras, and that was the entire reason for the war. The thing was even nicknamed the Football War, or the Soccer War, or my personal favorite, the 100-Hour War. Pick your poison. Sounds wild, right? Soccer game ends. Tanks roll. Zoe, Dad, quick question. On a scale of 1 to 10, how plausible does "we got mad at a soccer match and then went to war" actually sound?
I mean, to me, it sounds pretty plausible. I know people take sports pretty seriously.
As we've seen in past episodes, yeah, people do take sports really seriously. But starting a war?
That's for the
I
government's
just-
thing. Like, it's
I
not
just
just
don't
the
know.
people.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, maybe a 2 or a 3.
Okay. What about you, Zoe? What did you say anything?
We didn't give a number.
Oh, I know I was supposed to give a number. Sorry. I would say probably about a 6.
I would say about a 2. Real wars usually need a little more feel than a bad ref call.
Right.
So today, we're going to be detectives again. We're going to lay out what everyone thinks happened, and then we're going to ask, was it really the soccer? Spoiler, it was not. In 1969, El Salvador and Honduras are 2 small countries shading a border in Central America. They are very different. Honduras has tons of land and not many people. El Salvador has tons of people and very little land. Dad, what happens when one country next door has empty land and the other one is bursting at the seams?
I would think that the country with a lot of people would start taking over the country with a lot of with less people. So they've got more land, so they're gonna want to take the empty land.
Yeah, definitely. If they're bursting at the seams with people with no land, of course they're going to take the land of the one right next door
Mm-hmm.
that has like basically not even like half the people that they do, less than that. And they have more land.
Right.
By 1969, somewhere between 300,000 and 350,000 Salvadorans had crossed into Honduras looking for farmland and work. For a while, this worked out fine. Then it stopped working out. In 1962, Honduras passed a land reform law that over the next few years started taking land away from farmers and redistributing it. And, surprise, a lot of people losing that land were the Salvadorian migrants who'd been farming it for years. Honduran nationalists started blaming the Salvadorians for unemployment, for poverty, for everything. Sounds familiar. It is one of the oldest scapegoat playbooks in the world. When the economy goes bad, blame the newcomers, even when the newcomers had nothing to do with it. The Salvadorian migrants were beaten, harassed, expelled. Tens of thousands of them were forced back across the border into an El Salvador that did not have room for them. Imagine your home country saying welcome back to 50,000 people in one summer when you barely have enough farmland for the people who never left. Both governments started yelling at each other. The Salvadorian government accused Honduras of genocide. The Honduran government denied everything. It was, to use a technical historical term, a hot mess.
Saying like genocide is like serious thing. Like just
It's a
like that's a serious like, hey, you did that.
accusation. Yeah.
That's the word. That's a serious accusation.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like they, like just jumping so quick on. It goes from like 1 to 100.
Yeah.
Right. Like so when I tell you the powder keg was already full of gunpowder before anybody mentioned the word soccer, that is what I mean. Okay, now enter the soccer. In 1969, both countries are trying to qualify for the 1970 FIFA World Cup, which is being held in Mexico. Neither one has ever made it to a World Cup before. This is a huge deal, and by what historians like to call coincidence, and what I like to call the universe needing a writing prompt. The two countries are drawn against each other for a 3-game qualifying series. Zoe, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good of an idea is it to make two countries that already hate each other play 3 sporting events in 3 weeks?
I don't know. That sounds like putting Russia and Ukraine together.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like the modern day equivalent that I can think of right now. It's just they're feuding. It's not going to end well.
That's the term adding fuel to the fire.
Yeah.
Seems very apropos here.
Adding fuel to a powder keg that is already about to explode.
That's right.
Especially for two teams that have, 1, never made it to the World Cup, and 2, soccer is the biggest sport in the world. No context.
Passion is the word that comes to my head.
Yeah. No contest.
Mhm.
Okay. Like the amount of the amount of passion that people have for soccer mixed with already high tension,
That's right.
it's the powder keg's gonna explode. All right, match 1, June 8th, 1969, Tegucigalpa, Honduras. Honduras wins 1-0. Salvadoran fans and players are mistreated all weekend, taunted, jostled, thrown stuff at. But what happens next in El Salvador that night is what everyone remembers. An 18-year-old young woman named Amelia Bolanos is watching the game on TV. When Honduras scores the winning goal in the final minute, she takes her own life. I want to pause for a second because this is a part of the story where I think the soccer war legend really starts breaking down. Amelia was a young person who was clearly in enormous pain. And I want to say very clearly that we know today that suicide is almost never about a single event. There's always more going on. But the Salvadoran government and press at the time did something deliberate. They turned her into a national symbol overnight. Her funeral was broadcast on television. The president of El Salvador attended. The national soccer team served as her honor guard. The biggest Salvadoran newspaper printed that she could not bear to see her country defeated. I mean, like...
And that just makes me sick a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
they took this poor girl's death at her own hands and turned it into a PR stunt.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. Ugh.
They used her pain and mental anguish and her mental anguish and turned it into publicity.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable.
Unacceptable. That is correct.
God. It makes me sick to my stomach too. I mean, it's just like the lengths that people go to get any popularity.
And to be
And
right.
Yeah. And we see it more than ever today
Mhm.
with how big the internet is.
Yes.
Like, people will take events and use it in their favor, twist the words, and they'll use a tragic event in their favor to give them publicity. Or they'll do something themselves
That's right.
that's crazy and offensive, and they'll use it to gain popularity,
To get likes.
to get likes and views. Ugh, it just... Okay. Whatever was actually happening in this young woman's life, the people in power chose to make her death about soccer and about national pride. And that choice did real damage. Dad, quick question. What kind of story does that turn the next soccer match into?
It's a good question. I think the next one would be, like, for the side... She was Honduran?
Yes.
Yeah. So, no, I could be wrong.
No.
She was El
Yes, I
I
Salvadoran?
think she was El Salvadoran because of
Okay.
the El Salvador government
Okay,
was
yeah,
using
yeah.
it.
Okay, yeah.
So the El Salvadoran team would probably think, we have to win this
Mhm.
for her.
Yeah.
And then the Honduran team would have to say, well, we really shouldn't win this game,
Yeah.
because this girl died and,
Mhm.
and it'd be kind of awkward, really, for the
Yeah.
Honduran team.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
mean,
I
like...
mean, it's not their fault.
It's a psychological part of sports.
It's like... the honor?
Yeah.
Or, like, just...
Yeah.
Although it's sports, it's just, like... It's disrespectful, honestly,
It
if
is.
you win that. Like...
No, they're... for Honduras.
Like, you're still gonna
I mean-
try to win?
I mean, it's how you treat it, the situation. I think,
But-
because if you would go on,
Mhm.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like,
But you're not gonna try as hard.
I
you
wouldn't
know?
think so.
And if
It'd
you,
be
like,
weird.
score any goals, you would just not be, like, all... Like, what Zoe just did. Like, all, like, celebrate-y.
Yep.
Or even win.
it's a different. There's a different motivation.
Mhm.
Instead of playing to
Yes.
win, it's playing for honor. It's playing for honoring someone's life.
Because they technically, the Honduran team doesn't have to win at this point.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it seems like it's a best of 3.
Yeah, it
So,
is.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so if Honduras wins, they advance to the World Cup.
Correct.
Because the morale of the team was already down. The morale of the El Salvadoran team
Yeah.
was down as well. Like, there's also that.
And
We're
that's
like, they're just
another
not in the right
factor, right.
headspace.
That's a huge factor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the El Salvador team, their, like, hype, I guess, is way down. And Honduras is just normal, maybe. Well, they might be a little bit lower, It's tragic. Match 2, June 15th, 1969, San Salvador. Salvadoran fans surround the Honduran team's hotel all night, throwing rocks, honking horns, making absolutely sure nobody on the visiting team sleeps. The next day, on what is essentially 0 hours of sleep, Honduras gets demolished 3-0. Fans in the streets attack Honduran citizens. Violence breaks out along the border. Salvadorans in Honduras are again beaten and expelled. Honduran citizens flee Salvadoran neighborhoods. Things are getting very bad. Match 3, June 26, 1969, Mexico City, neutral ground.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. This one goes into extra time. El Salvador wins 3-2 in overtime. They're going to the World Cup. Now, here's the part that everyone forgets. On that same day, June 26, El Salvador formally cut off diplomatic relations with Honduras, accusing them of genocide against Salvadoran migrants. The soccer game and the diplomatic break happened on the same calendar square. That is not a and then a soccer game started a war timeline. That is, the war was already cooked, and the soccer was the timer going to ding.
Yeah, I'm sure there is no coincidence that the diplomatic ties were cut off on that day, but this was brewing long before the
Yes.
the 3 soccer games.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, what, 1962 it was?
Yeah.
That
It all
like,
started like 5 years before.
Right.
yeah, this is like 7 years now that this has just been brewing in the pot.
And it just reminds me, Zoe and Gavin, of World War I,
Yeah.
where it was
100%.
going to happen no matter what. It was just what was going to set that off.
Yeah.
And that being the killing of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. That
Right.
just happened to be the
That
set
just
off.
happened to be exactly.
But it was going to happen no matter what.
Yep. This seems like the exact same situation.
We've been using this phrase a lot this podcast, but it was just a powder keg about to explode.
Yeah.
With World War I and the killing of Archduke Franz Ferdinand and this game.
Yeah.
Like, this is what set off the powder keg. Or, like,
This
it
is
made
what-
it explode.
This is how the powder keg theory works.
3 weeks later, on July 14th, 1969, Bastille Day, just for fun, El Salvador launched airstrikes against Honduras, and then they drove tanks across the border. Except they weren't really tanks. They were jeeps with quarter-inch steel plates welded onto the sides. I'm not making that up. A U.S. diplomat at the time described it as Salvadoran troops and Belgian automatic weapons and homemade armored jeeps facing a Honduran army with machetes and old hunting rifles. Both sides also had small air forces and got into actual dogfights using leftover World War II propeller planes, Corsairs and Mustangs, which historians believe were the last propeller-driven dogfights in the Western Hemisphere.
That just shows you how poor each country was.
Yeah.
That they didn't really have, what we think an army would have.
Yeah.
Even back then. I mean, this is 1969, so it's not that long ago. But even, back then, they had jeeps with steel,
Yeah.
not tanks, machetes, old used Belgian guns,
Yeah.
old used propeller airplanes.
Yeah.
Like, it's just two poor countries fighting each other.
It's like a military hand-me-down.
Yes.
Like,
Was this one of the proxy wars that Russia and the U.S. were fighting in during the Cold War? Or was this kind of just a standalone one?
I'm not sure, but it does not sound like it.
Because they don't have very good stuff, and if they were involved in any way, shape, or form, they would be.
These are just two neighbors fighting, it sounds like.
Yeah. Well, I just know it's in the same time frame, so I didn't know if that was
For
one
sure.
of them.
all right, Zoe, what is the most darkly funny thing you can imagine happening to an invading army that is using welded jeep tanks?
Probably the metal falling off of the tanks.
Yeah.
Or just like the pure sight of seeing like modified jeeps
Mhm.
rolling into your country, and like, what is that?
It's like Jeep and tank cosplay.
yeah, pretty much. The tanks ran out of gas. The Salvadoran army made it about 20 to 30 kilometers in Honduras and literally ran out of fuel. The whole invasion just stopped. They were stuck. For us Americans out there, 20 to 30 kilometers is approximately 12.4 to 18.6 miles. Just
So they stalled out real quick.
yeah. That's what, like, from where we are to, like, PV, maybe less.
No, it's about 6 miles up to where you guys go to
Okay.
school.
So up and down.
Up and down, yes.
Up and down from
There you go.
school.
Like, that is very little, I
Mm-hmm.
must say.
I must say. Sorry.
Alright. The war was savage on civilians. Estimates of total death range is from about 2,000 to as many as several thousand, depending on who's counting. But it was over fast. 4 days after it started, on July 18th, the Organization of American States negotiated a ceasefire. Why so fast? Because the OAS basically threatened both countries with economic isolation if they didn't stop. El Salvador withdrew. The war had lasted, give or take, 100 hours. It's more of a battle than a war.
Right? Yeah. I mean, there's been shorter wars, but yeah.
Wasn't the shortest war 30 minutes? 30-some minutes?
Yeah, I think it was 36 minutes.
I learned about it in my history class.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember. It must have been in
the
Europe.
Battle of Hastings. Here's the part that will hurt your soul. Remember why all this started? El Salvador wanted to go to the 1970 World Cup. They did. The next year, they showed up in Mexico, played 3 matches, lost all 3, and scored exactly 0 goals. They went home in last place. The whole thing, the matches, the riots, the death of a young woman, the invasion, the dead civilians, and El Salvador's reward was finishing last in their World Cup group with a goose egg on the scoreboard.
Jeez, that stinks.
All of that.
Mm-hmm.
A whole war. Well,
yeah,
give or take. And then they just go on to lose 3-0, like series-wise.
0-3, yep.
With 0 goals the entire time. In the diplomatic relationship, the two countries did not sign a formal peace treaty until 1980, 11 years after this incident. The migration tensions and land disputes that actually caused the war never went away. The land was still scarce. The migrants were still displaced. The poverty was still grinding. In 1979, 10 years after the soccer matches, El Salvador slid into a civil war that lasted 12 brutal years and killed roughly 75,000 people.
Wow.
Many historians believe the football war was a major contributor because it deepened the economic crisis and forced the return of huge numbers of displaced workers into an already broken Salvadoran economy.
Yeah, that reminds me of something. You said that they didn't sign the peace treaty for 11 years. It reminds me that I read something recently. Do you guys know when the Korean War happened?
Yeah.
No.
What decade?
Not the exact decade, but I know it was during the Cold War.
It was during the Cold War. It was in the 50s.
It was never signed.
It was never signed and is technically still happening today.
Oh my god.
The Korean War, yeah.
Like,
interesting, right? Technically, yeah. I mean, it's
the
definitely
one
not.
between
not,
North and South Korea.
Yep.
Oh my god.
It was never signed.
So when someone tells you a soccer game started a war, what they should really say is a soccer game gave a war an excuse, and the consequences of that war kept rolling on for the next 40 years. And the soccer game itself, yeah, it didn't cause any of that, but it sure made a great headline.
I'm sure the tensions were high, but it was not the cause of an actual war. Right?
Yeah. Historiography. So how did this all come to be known as the football war? A lot of the blame honestly goes to one guy, a Polish journalist, which I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. I wish you could see the script right now. It is insane. Who wrote a famous book called The Soccer War in 1978. This Polish journalist was a beautiful writer. Later, historians have pointed out a writer who sometimes embellished things. His book made the world fall in love with the idea that a soccer game caused a war, and the nickname stuck forever. The Emilia Bolanos story, in particular, got told and retold with details we honestly don't know are true. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, this writer, that I'm not going to try to pronounce.
Because he could write well and tell a good story.
Yeah.
And he embellished some of the facts in it.
I feel like you can kind of take, like, a different example. This might not have happened, but it can. Artists trying to depict, like, a historical time, like a whole historical event, and just kind of, like, twisting it.
Oh, what 1,000% happened.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah.
I don't know, the first thing...
A lot, I'm sure.
When you say that, the first thing I think of is Stalin editing out pictures. Editing people
like
out of his pictures.
propaganda.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of was just propaganda.
Yeah.
It twists it.
It's like twisting the event and twisting the words of what actually happened. Right.
A good example of that, way minor, of course, is the whole Napoleon with his hand in his thing. He never did that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's just the artist's interpretation.
One famous thing can change the entire perspective, even though it's not true.
Correct.
All right. Modern Latin American historians have spent the last few decades pushing back hard. The matches were a trigger, not a cause. The actual causes were land scarcity, mass migration, racial scapegoating, and two governments that failed to protect vulnerable people for years before any soccer was played. The Uruguayan writer Eduardo Galeano put it best: soccer can bring tensions to a boil, but the fuel for that boil comes from somewhere else entirely. The football war name is catchy. It is also misleading. Real history rarely fits on a bumper sticker.
Lessons we've learned today.
What have we learned today?
Well, I think one of the biggest ones is something that we always kind of go over, and it's a sensational headline or name of something doesn't really tell the truth. Not all the time. Like soccer war or emu war. That really wasn't a war against emus. It was three guys out in the, the Australian
Outback.
In the Australian outback, shooting at birds with machine guns.
Yeah.
This was a soccer war, and it wasn't even caused by soccer. Soccer was a component of it.
Yeah.
I learned that we need to be skeptical of sensational headlines.
Don't just take things at face value.
Yeah.
That's just what I was about to say. Don't look at the thing that caused something. Look also at the buildup. Because we've gone over this multiple times this episode. It wasn't the soccer game that caused it. It was the buildup and then the soccer game, which caused an explosion.
Yep.
You know? A few takeaways from today. When something terrible happens, watch what the people in power do with it. The Salvadoran government took a real young person's tragedy and used it to whip up rage for a war they were probably already planning. That is a thing that powerful people still do today with news cycles instead of newspapers. Just like I was saying earlier, like people do things
for clout and likes. Yep.
Second lesson. The easy explanation is almost always wrong. A soccer game caused a war is satisfying because it is simple, but leaves out the migrants, the land, the racism, the 100 years of imbalance before kickoff. Always ask, what is the boring, complicated answer underneath the catchy one? And third, short crises can have long shadows. The football war helped destabilize Central America for decades and contributed to El Salvador's 12-year civil war that followed. 100 hours of fighting, 50 years of consequences.
Yeah.
It's like cause and effect.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we look at it today. The effects of the war in Iran right now are going to be long-lasting for decades.
Yeah.
Like, it's still ongoing, but it was, it's...
We can look back in our future, see what happened to them, and just imagine what's going to happen to us.
Yeah.
Because history repeats.
Absolutely.
If we don't educate ourselves, history is going to repeat.
We're obviously not educating ourselves as a nation. It's time for the Fun Fact Challenge.
Three easy ones today, actually. I did them, so. Question 1. What were the 3 nicknames of the war?
3?
Locked in. I got you.
Okay.
I got it.
Yeah, all 3
I
names.
got it. I locked in.
You have all 3 of them?
I do.
You gotta give at least 2.
I got all 3.
Okay.
I got all 3, baby.
Okay, think of it.
The soccer war, the football war, the 100-hour war.
Okay, good job. Point Dad.
Ding!
I didn't have the soccer war. I only had the football war and the 100 hours war.
Mm.
And you literally said you're not going to need that. Why are you writing that down?
No, I did say we weren't gonna need it.
I said, why are you taking notes right now?
No, I was
No,
saying
he asked why I wasn't.
Why wasn't?
Oh no, he asked why I was taking notes at that point in time.
No.
I was asking.
I was there.
I was saying he's really taking notes. Question 2. What year was the World Cup and where was it?
Locked in. It was 1970 and it was in Mexico.
Okay, good job. All right, we got a tie. Let's see who wins. Question 3. What day did the war start and how long did it last in days? Could do a little math here.
Locked in.
Okay, Zoe.
July 16th.
July 18th.
I think that's close enough.
No, but it's still
you didn't give
wrong.
him a chance to answer.
No, that's
So,
fine. I
what do
think
you
that's close
mean?
enough. That's a
No, but how much
okay.
days did it last?
4 days.
Okay, yeah, you got that. Do I give it to her?
Yeah, she won that.
No, but
You
she
didn't
was
give-
2
I
days
was not-
off.
Here,
You didn't
it's
give him
fine
an answer.
because I wasn't gonna come up with that.
Oh, I won again.
This day in history.
Some other things that happened on June 11th across history. 1509, King Henry VIII of England married Catherine of Aragon, the first of his eventual 6 wives. Their later divorce would help kick off the English Reformation.
I mean, last week, wasn't it
Yep.
the head of one of the churches, the head of the Protestant church?
The Canterbury,
Oh, I know what it was.
the Archbishop,
The Archbishop
of
of Canterbury nullified his second wife's marriage.
No,
Or said it was okay.
Fourth.
he said it. Yeah,
He said his marriage to Anne Boleyn was okay.
that's right.
Which
Going against the Pope.
the Pope said nope.
The Pope said nope.
Yeah. Let's
That's good.
go back to the start, or like the mid part of this question. His eventual 6 wives.
Yeah, he had quite a bit.
Yeah. This little jingle that
Oh
we
my God.
have. Divorced,
We know.
beheaded, and died.
I'm trying to think of
Divorced,
the
beheaded,
Kunk on Earth
died.
one that she's like, he was a he married like 4 Catherines. He was like
He was a Catherine-holic.
short Catholic or something like that. It was like there was a pun about him being
He
like,
was a Catholic. Short Catholic.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right. 1935. Alcoholics Anonymous was founded in Akron, Ohio by Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob Smith, beginning what would become the world's most influential addiction recovery movements.
Interesting story. Bill W., who was one of the creators of AA, was actually at Canterbury Cathedral. No, not Canterbury. Winchester Cathedral, which right there on our wall. Winchester Cathedral. And in the graveyard there, the cemetery there, he saw someone had died of alcoholism, basically. And when he read how young he was, it inspired him to try and change his ways.
Huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because was he an alcoholic?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And his doctor, he was trying, he went to this doctor and they tried everything that they could to stop him from drinking, and it just wasn't working. They couldn't figure it out. But then they stumbled upon this. But that Winchester Cathedral cemetery stone was what inspired him to start the whole entire AA thing. Interesting, right?
It all connects back to.
It does.
It all connects to Europe for you, Dad.
It does.
All roads lead to Europe.
To England, really.
All roads lead to England.
All right. 1963. 2 black students, Vivian Malone and James Hood, became the first African Americans to enroll at the University of Alabama after Governor George Wallace's infamous stand in the schoolhouse door was forced aside by federal authority. That's a huge step.
Yeah. Do you guys remember that from Forrest Gump?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I
I want to watch that
I
again.
thought of Forrest Gump.
Yep.
The football war wasn't really about football. It was about land, migration, and 2 governments failing their people. Soccer just struck the match. That's it for this episode. Thanks for traveling through time with us on the Ebbs of History. If you liked today's story, share it with a teacher, a friend, or your family on Instagram at Ebbs of History. If you have any show ideas, corrections, or questions, you can contact us at questions@ebbsofhistory.com.
Signing off, this has been your co-host, Jason.
Zoe.
And me, Gavin, reminding you that history is not just about dates and battles, it is about people, curiosity, and weird, wonderful choices that shaped our world. Until next time,
Keep wondering.
Keep laughing.
and keep learning through
The
Ebbs of History.